Chelsea fans, welcome back to Talking Chelsea. Welcome back to another match reaction, and I really don't know what to tell you with this one. I really do not want to tell you with this one. Sunderland 2, Chelsea 1. Chelsea were the home team. Chelsea had less than 1 XG. Now, I'm not really a stats guy, but less than 1 XG at home to Sunderland. There was so much wrong with this game. But there's a lot of patterns that we are noticing with Chelsea. Historically, we are not good at defending low blocks. Sunderland, congratulations. Hats off to you. Not literally, because my hair looks atrocious today. I only had it cut, no, I got it done. Anyway, hats off to Sunderland, because you know why? Sunderland had a game plan and executed it. They had a game plan and executed it. Sitting in a back five, sitting in a low block, hitting us on the counter, long throws, because we cannot defend those, and we'll talk about those in a second. So fair play to them. Fully deserved 3 points from Sunderland, who, by the way, their XG, if you were curious and you are a statistician or people that are into stats, had 1.16 XG away from home. They created their own atmosphere with their away fans. We know that can kind of be a bit of a political argument and weren't really much to sing about if you're a Chelsea fan at the game today, because we were absolutely atrocious. We had 69% possession to their 31%. We did nothing with it. Sideways passing. We were shaky on the ball, shaky defensively. We're going to break it all down as best as I can. My head is on Mars currently. Now, I do want to say, if you are new around here and you like daily Chelsea content, whether it's match reviews, Chelsea news, previews, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. We are so close to hitting 10k. We may have even hit 10k. There should be a day of celebration in that sense, but it isn't, because Chelsea lost in a horrific fashion. But I really do appreciate the support from you guys. But let's get into this. We start this game in the first 2 minutes and we go, this is very shaky. This isn't a good start. However, we hit Sunderland on the transition from a fantastic ball from Neto into Garnacho, does a lot of hard work, goes on the left-hand side and drills it low and hard through the goalkeeper's legs. A good finish for him, and send Chelsea 1-0 up within the first 4 minutes. And you think, wow, okay, cool. That come out of nowhere. We're playing high on confidence. We can dominate this game now. We're 1-0 up. Let's not do anything stupid. So what do? We dominate the game. Sideways passing. Can't control much of the attacking threat. We can't create anything. We can't break down this back five. Sunderland are very well organised, very well drilled defensively. Know exactly what they're setting out to do. And Chelsea lacked potency. Lacklustre on the ball. Shaky on the ball. Shaky defensively. Couldn't find a way through. Underhit passes, overhit passes. Overhit crosses, underhit crosses. I like Pedro Neto. I get a lot of slack because I say he's one of our best, if not the best wingers we have at the club currently. His crosses are some of the most accurate we've ever seen in a Chelsea shirt, in my opinion. That might be a bit bold, but very accurate with the ball in the air. We don't have people to attack it. Today, woeful distribution from him. And I don't like to pile on Pedro Neto, but it just wasn't his best performance. I know he got the assist and it was well done. There was a chance later in the game. It was a 2v1 on the break. And he plays such a horrible, hideous pass into Garnacho that's behind him, and we just completely fluff the opportunity. And at that point, we could have really done with that chance going in, because Garnacho, high on confidence. Now, after this first goal, you'd think Chelsea would kick on. Chelsea really push, pile the pressure on, go get that number 2. Nope, we just fizzled out. Sideways passing, no creativity. And then when Sunderland did get the ball, they used it very, very well. And the problem that I've got with being hit on the transition is this isn't something that's new. This is every team that comes up against Chelsea that doesn't have their own way of playing in terms of, forward attacking football, like when we play the likes of Ajax or play the likes of Liverpool or, other teams that don't want to sit in a low block, right? They know how to defend. Sit in a low block, take up the pressure. As long as you defend well, you have opportunities going forward on the counter, because Chelsea cannot deal with defending on the transition. We can't deal with it because Sunderland were moving the ball forward on the counter and cutting through us like butter. Midfield non-existent. One of the very rare occasions I've seen Caicedo have a very poor game. Xhaka outplayed Caicedo in midfield today, which is something I never thought I'd be saying in 2025, if I'm being brutally honest. But Chelsea dominated large spells of that first half. We were hit on the counter. Sunderland back in the game from a long throw. And this is the problem. I don't think Chelsea necessarily played poorly for large spells of this game. We were spineless. We lacked teeth. We weren't going for the kill, we weren't going for the throat. We were happy just to pass the ball sideways. But when Sunderland got their opportunity, they could sniff out the danger and they went and attacked it. And they knew, even after going 1-0 down, after about 10 minutes after they conceded that goal, this game was theirs for the taking. And all I was hoping is that Chelsea could just not do anything silly. Now, we concede a long throw, we concede a goal from it. Long throws are in fashion, quote unquote. They are back in a big way. Why are we one of the only teams that can't defend long throws? It was such a Sunday League goal to concede. They win the flick on, the ball comes down in the penalty area, one of their players just hits it, so many bodies, bounce, falls to a Sunderland player, 2 yards out, Sanchez can't do anything, tap in, 1-1. And great. Okay, against the run of play in terms of the possession and the way that we've been controlling the ball, but we had some, we were very shaky defensively in terms of positioning or losing the ball at the back, and we just didn't look very confident. Chelsea then returned to having more of the ball and trying to create something. Can't create anything because we just have no answers for a low block. And we go into half-time, and I don't know who I would take off at half-time, if I'm being honest. Because at that moment, I thought, no one's really performed that badly that they needed to be hooked. But you think of, okay, who's going to be the answer to unlock this low block? Because when you look at who we had a natural 9 of Guiu, who was trying, his job would have been to stretch the defence, and he pressed and he worked hard. He was very unlucky with a few sort of half chances that he got, or, the ball run out of him, or he had a bit of a poor touch. I'm not going to put any blame on Mark Guiu. We've been screaming for him to start and play. He got his opportunity, and he couldn't get into the game. He didn't really get a lot of service either. We had João Pedro in the 10. We know he plays better in the 10. He was dropping deeper and deeper to get the ball. He couldn't unlock that defence. Pedro, like I said, overhit, underhit, whether it's crosses or passes. Garnacho, after that goal, did very well. You can see he had confidence, fizzled out. So then who'd you bring on? And we have to talk about Maresca's substitutes in the second half, because I feel like he got 50% of them right and 50% of them wrong. The percentages may be a bit off there, I'm not going to lie. Because you look at the attacking substitutions and they're all like for like. You bring on the likes of Estevao, bring on the likes of Gittins. You bring on Tyreek George. Why? All right, fair. You don't want to play Mark Guiu for the rest of the game. You put on Tyreek George. But I don't see him as the answer. I personally don't. But hey, it is what it is, right? The one I have a big issue with, up until right now, the point of recording, right, is Josh Ashimpong was probably our best defender on the pitch. Chalobah was very shaky again today. Well, Cucurella spent more time in half space than he did defending, but he still had a relatively consistent game because we know what we're getting with Cucurella. We know what we're getting with Reece James. It wasn't his best game today, but we know how good he is. He's our captain, right? We're not going to get on him. Criticise where it's due, but that's about it. Sanchez, I felt like he didn't really do much wrong. I think his distribution was fairly decent going forward. And where our goal came from was a long ball from Sanchez. Yes, it wasn't immediately won by a Chelsea player. It came off a Sunderland player. We won it back, etc. But fine. I don't think he did too much wrong, if I'm being honest. I don't think he could have done anything for the goals at all. We'll get into the last goal because that was absolutely shambolic. But you look at Josh Ashimpong, who's probably been our best defender in the last few games by a country mile. Other than the Liverpool game, you could probably say Badiashile was on par. They both had very good games. And you take him off 15 minutes before the end of the game, no visible injury, and you bring on Tosin. Now, I would understand if we were defending a lead, but we were drawing at the time. So why are we bringing off Ashimpong? That makes no sense. You bring on Tosin, a player who has been very shaky at the back in the last few weeks. The person that hasn't had a great run of games recently. The one who give away a penalty midweek from a silly challenge. The one who's always at the heart of the problems when we get caught in the transition. And guess what? When we concede that second goal, I'm not going to put too much blame on Tosin specifically because there wasn't much he could do other than hold his man and wait for someone to help him. But Chalobah, bro, what? You just stood there. Just stood there watching going, oh, all right, okay, you're going to win that or not. No one tracking the runner, the late runner coming in. Sunderland have a free shot at the edge of the box, basically open, because Chalobah stood there like a statue and Tosin was just holding the other player off, didn't want to commit a foul. Poor defending. And Sanchez was left flat-footed. He was like, well, what can I do? Great finish. Now, like I said, Sunderland had a game plan. They executed it. They thoroughly deserved that win. I'm not going to shy away from that. They were fantastic. But Chelsea had 16 shots. We did nothing with them. We tested the keeper maybe once or twice with shots going down his throat. Chalobah had a good shot in the first half. It was tipped over for a corner. The amount of corners we had. We've started to score from corners this season, more so than previous seasons. Why are we playing it short in the 90th minute when we're trying to chase a goal or we're trying to chase the winner? Why are we playing our corners short? Our deliveries were just so off it today. We just cannot break down low blocks. 5 backs. There needs to be some sort of answer or some sort of change where Chelsea can start unlocking these defences. Because we're so easy to play against. So easy. And when we get caught in transition, mate, we just don't know what we're doing. We were just such a poor defensive display today. And I'm not saying that, it was the worst I've ever seen. But you could just see this coming. The way the game was playing out, the longer it went on, I thought, right, Sunderland going to get something from this game, And then once they did, I thought, we've not really changed our tune. We're still fizzling out. We're not stepping up to what we should be doing. We're not performing the way we should be. We're not trying to find that answer. I feel sorry for Estevao. You bring him on. He's creative. He tries to unlock things. He couldn't really get into the game. He struggled because the players around him sort of struggled as well going forward. Now, we had a lot of the ball in the final third, but we just couldn't do anything with it. And at that point, Sunderland going to nick this, smash and grab, and that's exactly what they did. Head is on Mars, mate, because Sunderland hadn't won away this season. We give them their first win. Now, one thing I will say is I was doing the live watch along, and a lot of you guys were saying that it's Sunderland. We should be blowing these away. The relegation fodder. That is where you're wrong, unfortunately. And I've said this a couple times on live watch-alongs this season. I've said from the start of the season, they will stay up. They will stay up because they are well-drilled and people are going to underestimate them. Now, do I think that this result was good enough? No. We should be beating Sunderland at home, especially on the run of form that we've been on. We were starting to build a little run here. And the wind has been taken out of our sails because our players didn't step up. We didn't perform well enough. There was I'm not blaming everything on Maresca. I'm not blaming everything on the players. I think this is a 50-50 thing. Performances were mid, and I think Maresca's decisions and some of the substitutions didn't make sense. All right, and the game management. The substitution should have been a little bit earlier, in my opinion. I think he left them a bit too late. Starting those two wingers of Garnacho and Pedro seems to be a massive, massive difference to the ones that started against Ajax. And surely one player can't be all the difference. But hey, that's only from sort of being the outside looking in and watching these things unfold. But Sunderland fully deserve this. They're going to stay up. They're going to get more points than we think. But it was just disappointing, frustrating for us to lose at home to Sunderland in the current run of form we're in, with the confidence we've had, with the way the players have been playing. This should have been 3 points for us, especially going 1-0 up so early on and in control of the game. And we've let it go. We've only got ourselves to blame here. We've only got ourselves to blame. We played well in large spells, but didn't do anything with it. And we were punished for not doing anything with it. That is probably the best way I can sum it up. And the fact that Sunderland have had a good away day out, they had less possession, hit us, smash and grab. Fair play to them. Fair play to them. So, like I said earlier, I think we're around the 10k mark. I want to say thank you so much for all the love and support on this channel. Honestly, I have the best community. You guys are amazing, and I wish I could be in a better mood for it today. But this has really sent my head on Mars. This is a disappointing result. It's 3 points that we have dropped. Sunderland, as a recording right now, are second in the Premier League. They were level on points with us going into this game, which showcases how well Sunderland have done this season, and maybe how poor or how, not bad, but maybe how poor we've been this season because we've not taken advantage and got more points where we should have. I know every game is subjective and we break down every game, and I know we've had silly red cards, etc., and injuries. But today we rested the squad. We've got, in my opinion, we've got no excuses. We just wasn't good enough. So that's my thoughts and opinions on my match reaction. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. I love having a conversation with you guys. Like I said, if you are new around here and you like Chelsea content, daily Chelsea content, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. I don't know what the next goal is because we've just hit 10k, which genuinely blows my mind. So thank you so much, and I'll see you tomorrow for some Chelsea news.